Islamist Propaganda from Newsweek. Folks, look at this headline. Majority of U.S. Muslims now support gay marriage, while white evangelical Christians remain opposed, by Jason Lemire, I think, on 5/1/18. Okay, now, what do you see wrong with this headline? You should immediately see a few things wrong with this headline. If you're an idiot and you read this headline really fast, you might come away thinking, well, gee, Muslims are actually more progressive than Christians in America. But they're not comparing Muslims to Christians, okay? They're comparing Muslims, which is, everyone who is Muslim, with certain kinds of Christians. Christians of a certain sect or branch of Christianity, and Christians with a certain skin color of that particular branch of Christianity. You're not comparing apples to apples. You're not comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing apples in general to just a certain kind of orange. Bad oranges, let's say, or extreme oranges, or very ignorant oranges, particularly backwards oranges. But it's so obvious in the headline. But then again, it seems so obvious that they want you to think that Muslims in the U.S. are more progressive on gay marriage than Christians are in the U.S. And it's so obvious that's not true, even in the headline, assuming that this headline is actually correct. I don't even believe it, but I'm not saying I disbelieve it, I'm just saying I don't trust it. Now, another thing, why are they saying, or why are they comparing Muslims, period, to just white evangelical Christians? Why is that? Are they really trying to propagate the same myth, the suggestion, the unconscious, unexamined belief or assumption that Muslims are a race? Because a lot of people still kind of think that. And I say kind of think that, because when you actually ask them, they kind of scratch their head and they go, well, I guess not, but they kind of are, but they, they just want to play the race card even though they know it's not valid to play the race card. So here we are, Newsweek, using the word white for some strange reason. I don't really know. I mean, it's really... I know why. It's race baiting. Come on. We all know why. It's race baiting. And this is rather disgusting. You may as well say something like the majority of U.S. Christians are more in favor of gay marriage than fundamentalist Muslims. I mean, that would be kind of a more fair comparison. No, I mean, that's not very far off from a parallel of this headline. They are comparing apples in general to the worst kind of oranges, so why can't we say something like U.S. Christians are more in favor of homosexuality than fundamentalist Muslims are? People are so stupid! So folks, let's look at the Pew Research Center. They put out this April 30th, 2013, The World's Muslims, Religion, Politics, and Society, which gives you survey information, globally speaking, from Muslims about such things as Sharia, women's rights, homosexuality, separation of church and state, all that kind of stuff. Now, let's look here, page 6, chapter 3, morality, scrolling past stuff about do you need to be moral to believe in God? What about drinking alcohol? What about things like suicide, abortion, sex outside of marriage, and then to homosexuality. What does it say here? Homosexuality. Muslims overwhelmingly say that homosexual behavior is morally wrong, including 3/4 or more in 33 of the 36 countries where the question was asked. Is homosexual behavior moral? Well, we already know that most of them say no, it's immoral. But let's look closely here. The gray represents their attitude saying it's morally wrong, so you can see it's mostly gray, almost no of that olive green, whatever you want to say, where that would be people who say, or Muslims who say that it's morally acceptable. And you can see lots of countries, again, 36 countries they went to. Unfortunately, they don't do the USA. And you can see that they've grouped it between countries of Southern Eastern Europe, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa. I really wish they would have done the USA, Canada, Australia, etc. That would have changed these results somewhat. My point is this: although the Pew Research Center doesn't address gay marriage specifically, it addresses homosexuality. And according to the Pew Research Center, which is not very much in dispute, according to the Pew Research Center, the overwhelming majority of Muslims say that homosexuality is wrong. Okay? Now, again, it doesn't talk about whether or not they support the legal right for gay people to get married, but we get an idea. Okay? We get a bit of an idea here.
Streisand.
Okay? And then, if you want to go early in the article about the Muslim attitudes about separation of church and state, then you get a really, really good idea that the amount of people who want homosexuality to be illegal, Muslims that want homosexuality to be illegal, going by their attitudes of separation of church and state, would tell us that pretty much exactly what you see here is what you would get if you asked them whether or not homosexual or gay marriage should be legal or not legal. So, let's go back to Newsweek. Now, we all know, well, we don't all know, but it's safe to say that U.S. Muslims are a lot more moderate than, say, Muslims in North Africa, for example. And so, it shouldn't be too surprising that U.S. Muslims are more in support of gay marriage than Muslims globally. In fact, I would bet good money that's the case. But, you know, your average idiot would read this, especially if they're a regressive leftist. They would read this and be like, oh, see, Muslims are just as progressive as Christians. Actually, more progressive than Christians, see? No, you're comparing apples in general to a specific kind of orange. That's not a valid comparison. So screw you, Jason Lemire. You're an Islamist, okay? You should be ashamed, and you should apologize to people. Now, some people may say, oh, well, that's not fair. Pew Research is only studying Muslims that are outside of the Western world. Okay, well, so what? I mean, there's more Muslims outside of the Western world than in it. I mean, it's a pretty good representation. It's a lot better representation than just US Muslims. But anyway, by the way, CNN, okay? CNN is not exactly all enthusiastic about criticizing Islam. They bend over backwards to avoid doing so. So when they come out with a headline that says 52% of British Muslims in poll think homosexuality should be illegal, I'm scratching my head thinking, wow, I bet you it's a lot higher than 52% if that's what CNN is claiming, but that's just looking at the headline. But yeah, we're talking British Muslims, okay? Not Muslims in Saudi Arabia, British Muslims, okay? Not just that it's a sin, but that it should be illegal. And gee, I'm afraid to ask what they think the punishment should be. I mean, who knows? Maybe the punishment for being gay they think should be raped. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe they think that for the crime of being gay, you should be raped. Wouldn't surprise me. Well, let's look at the article here. So, according to the article, their data sample is quite small. Really, very small compared to the Pew Research Center. So, it may not actually be valid. That's really small. And we're talking British Muslims, a little over 1,000 British Muslims by a polling agency, ICM. Not heard of that. For a television program, What Muslims Really Think, for Britain's Channel 4. So, yeah, we should be a little cautious about this. So this may not actually be representative of Muslims in the UK in general, but for whatever it's worth, even CNN, begrudgingly, I'm sure, admitting that according to this poll, 52% of British Muslims in the poll think that homosexuality should be illegal. Not just that it's immoral, but that it should be illegal. And this is from April 12th, 2016. Yeah, talk about backwards. By the way, just for the hell of it, because I'm currently quoting the following to some Muslims, and it's making them very mad. So one of the many quotes I like to quote from the Quran to people is the Quran 533. This is a Medinan surah, which means it overrules the earlier, more peaceful surahs. So the Quran 533 says, "The only reward of those who make war upon Allah and His Messenger and strive after corruption in the land will be that they will be killed or crucified, or have their hands and feet on alternate sides cut off, or will be expelled out of the land. Such will be their degradation in the world, and in the hereafter theirs will be an awful doom." Yeah, religion of peace, huh? No, that's not to say that the Bible doesn't say crazy stuff like kill people for playing on Saturdays or something like that, or like kill a girl for being raped before she can get married. I mean, the Bible says some pretty goddamn messed up stuff. But let's not lie about anything, okay? Anything. Alright? Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Oh boy, I'm just in trouble for this one, I'm sure.
You better pray for help. In a battle, you better pray for help. Straight up and down, so don't even play yourself.